Kérem vigyázzanak, az ajtók záródnak.
After my mother died in 2017, my father, who was in his late 80s at the time and still in good health, started visiting me in Budapest. He flew in like a tourist on jet2.com, and because he didn't know Budapest, we did all the touristy things. He leapt on and off public transport, and we went to Parliament and the castle and had goulash at little outdoor restaurants with red and white check tablecloths. On his first visit, we took in Vienna as well. Why not? It was only a short ride on the railjet. It was on this trip that Austria's Empress Sissi became a family joke. Sissi, famously portrayed with stars in her hair, is as much a part of the tourist kitsch of Vienna as Mozart with his chocolate balls. But we ended up spending more time with her than we would have wanted when a downpour sent us scurrying into the Sissi Museum. We spent a whole afternoon looking at her gold and silver soup tureens. "Struth," said Dad when we finally made it to the exit. On the Richter scale of boredom, the Sissi Museum was a 10. "Let's get back to Budapest," said Dad. I didn't tell him that Sissi was also the Queen of Hungary. Dad loved Budapest. Indeed, he came 2 or 3 more times before COVID put paid to his little holidays. For a whole year, I didn't see him except on video, as he dealt with lockdown in the UK, and our lives in Hungary, though less restricted, were also put on pause. In 2022, Dad had a knee operation, which made him less mobile than he had been. I thought he probably wouldn't come to Budapest again, but then in 2024, by which time he was 95, he surprised me. Dad discovered that he could get special assistance on the plane. I booked a boutique hotel for us because we didn't have room to put him up at our place, and I promised I would spare him the ordeal of public transport. We would go everywhere by taxi. He arrived on a relatively quiet Monday, before the Easter rush. The Yorkshire staff on jet2.com had obviously made a big effort, because when Dad landed in Budapest, he was euphoric. "They treated me so well," he enthused. "They made me feel like the Pope." We went straight to the Hotel Enjoy, in a little back street of the Belváros, or city centre. The next morning, Dad greeted me with the words, "Worst night of my life. The bed was hard and the pillows were like rocks." Objectively speaking, the beds were fine, and it was probably inevitable that he would be unsettled in a strange place. But I did find the decor in the rooms rather worrying. Above the beds, the word "enjoy" was spelt out in big metal letters. The letter J was at a jaunty angle, as if drunk. What would happen if one of those letters fell off the wall and hit you on the head in your sleep? And then you really would enjoy your stay at the hotel. Fortunately, the breakfast buffet was good. Dad helped himself to a pile of sausages. "You could have a tomato with that," I said. "I'm not bothered," he said. The hotel was not far from Szabadság híd, or Liberty Bridge, so Dad was able to walk there and look out over the Danube. We also went to the city park and had a celebratory lunch in Gündel, one of Budapest's oldest and poshest restaurants. Dad tucked into roast duck with honeycomb ice cream for dessert. The charming waiters even brought a firework to the table, as they'd heard it had recently been Dad's birthday. But this time, Dad had not come to Budapest for tourism or fine dining. "I just wanted to be with you," he said. He saw and approved of our new flats, which was important to him. "I can see this life suits you very well," he said, relaxing in an armchair on our balcony. On the way back to Britain, I flew with him. I watched how the airport medics wheeled him through security and passport control and loaded him onto the plane, through the door opposite the one all the other passengers were using. The Hungarian ground staff were competent and not unkind, but perhaps because of the language barrier, they made less of a fuss of him than the Yorkshire stewardesses, who called him Love and gave him a cup of tea once we were in the air. So I asked, "Do you still feel like the Pope?" "No," said Dad, "I feel like a Methodist minister." But not long after he got home, he was remembering only the highlights and talking about making another visit to Budapest soon.
This train terminates here. Goodbye.